Reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 13, titled The Advent of Lord Caitanya, text number 75 to 79. Baladeva prakasha paravyome sankarshanam. Baladeva prakasha paramavyome sankarshanam. Tenha vishwara upadana nimita karanam. Tenha vishwara upadana nimita karanam. Baladeva prakasha paravyome sankarshanam. Tenha vishwara upadana nimita karanam. Baladeva prakasha. Manifestation of Baladev. Parama Vyome, in the spiritual sky. Sankarshana, of the name Sankarshana. Tenha, he. Vishwara, the cosmic manifestation. Upadana, ingredient. Nimitta karana, immediate cause. Translation, please repeat. The expansion of Baladev, known as Sankarshan, in the spiritual world, is the ingredient and immediate cause of this material cosmic manifestation. So I'll read the next verses. Tanha bhai vishwekichu nahi dekhi ara Ataeva Vishwarupa Namaje Tanhara. Translation. The gigantic universal form is called the Vishwarup incarnation of Mahasankarshan. Thus, we do not find anything within this cosmic manifestation except the Lord Himself. Naitak Chitram Bhagavati Hiyananta Jagat Ishware Otam protam idam jasmin tantushwanga jatapata. As the thread in a cloth spreads both lengthwise and breadthwise, so everything we see within this cosmic manifestation is directly and indirectly existing in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is not very wonderful for him. Ataeva prabhu tandavale bhadavai Krishna Balarama Dui Caitanya Nitai. Because Mahasankarshan is the ingredient and efficient cause of the cosmic manifestation, he is present in every detail of it. Lord Caitanya therefore called him his elder brother. The two brothers are known as Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world, but at the present moment they are Caitanya and Nitai. Therefore, the conclusion is that Nityananda Prabhu is the original Sankarshan Baladev. Putra Panadampati Hatanandita Mana Vishesheshevana Khore Govinda Charana. The husband and wife, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, having gotten Vishwarup as their son, were very pleased within their minds. Because of their pleasure, they specifically began to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There is a common saying in India that everyone goes to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he is in distress. But when a person is in an opulent position, he forgets God. In Bhagavad Gita 7:16, this is also confirmed. Chaturbida bhajante mam jana sukritino Arjuna Artha jigyasur artharthi jnanicha bharatarshava. Translation: if backed by pious activities in the past, 4 kinds of men, namely those who are distressed, those in need of money, those searching after knowledge, and those who are inquisitive, become interested in devotional service. End of quote. The husband and wife, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, were very unhappy because their 8 daughters had passed away. Now, when they got Vishwarup as their son, certainly they become extremely happy. They knew that it was by the grace of the Lord that they were endowed with such happiness and opulence. Therefore, instead of forgetting the Lord, they became more and more adherent in rendering service to the lotus feet of Govinda. When a common man becomes opulent, he forgets God. But the more opulent a devotee becomes by the grace of the Lord, the more he becomes attached to the service of the Lord. So the verse again. Baladeva prakash parapyome sankarshana tenha vishwaraupadana nimitta karana. The expansion of Baladev, known as Sankarshan, in the spiritual world is the ingredient and immediate cause of this material cosmic manifestation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvya Cha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavavyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The Advent of Lord Chaitanya. Adi-lila, chapter 13. So we are a few days of celebrating the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna Kirtan Prabhu requested to give a, prelude or so to the appearance, Lila of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many things that can be explained about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, as it is explained also that the bird flies according to the length of its wings, so I'll just limit it in whatever I can say. I'm just repeating what I have learned from my senior authorities. So, whenever Srila Prabhupada spoke about the appearance of the Lord, he will quote or refer to mainly 4 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 4 of the Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, because Krishna mentions that he has shown this knowledge of yoga, bhakti yoga, to the great son, God, Vivaswan. And Vivaswan passed it down to his successors. Then Arjuna presents a question. How come? How is it that you spoke to Vivaswan and other great personalities of the past when they are senior to you by birth? How is it? That's the question. And then Krishna takes that as a cue for start explaining about himself. If we can recall the contents of the first chapters of the Gita, there is no explanation about Krishna. It's only in chapter 4 at that point, in text number 5, when Arjuna asked this question, 4, I think, text 4, that Krishna tells him, he says, we have had many times born together, but you have forgotten, but I haven't. Right? That's how he starts explaining. And then he starts explaining the nature of his appearance, the nature of himself, and the purpose of him coming. So whenever we hear about an appearance of the Lord, we have to understand basically three things. Who is this personality that is appearing? Who is Sri Caitanya? How he appears? And what is his mission? Why does he appear? So in those 4 verses, Krishna explains all that. He says that although I am unborn, ajopi sam abhyayatma, and I don't deteriorate, bhutanam ishvaropi sam, and I am the controller of all the living entities, still prakritim swamadhistaya, I come by my own potency, by my own desire. No one of us really chose in which family we will take birth, right? We didn't choose, at least not consciously, I'm going to be born in South Africa, South America, or anywhere else, right? We just were thrown in there somehow by the law of karma. So the Lord explains, I'm not like that, I'm different. Prakritim swam adhisthaya. That the Acharyas explain, Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas explain, that is by the Lord's free will, swarat, He's independent. So I take birth, or I appear rather, where I want to appear. And that's the first thing that he explains. Sambhavami atmamayaya. Again, sambhavami atmam, by my own energy, by my own arrangement. Then he continues to explain that there is a reason why he appears. And these same considerations, or these same criteria apply in every incarnation. And therefore, Prabhupada will refer to these verses in practically all his classes. Not the same verses, sometimes he will take one or take another. But if you see Prabhupada's lectures on the appearance days of the Lord, you can see the common points. And he referring always to these, mainly these four verses of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 6 to 7, 8, and 9. Yeah. So the reason why he appears is because there is a decline in religious practices. Yada yada, at that time, whenever and whatever. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanid. Dharmasya glanid means that people start reducing, diminishing their practices. Spirituality starts going down. Dharma glani. And when there is an increase in irreligiosity, at that time I appear. Tadatmanam srijami aham. So Krishna says, at that time I come. When that happens, I come. Of course, all these things are already predicted. It's not that, okay, there is war, or there is this happening, or that happening, and then he appears. But this is already predicted in the Vedas. And then he comes and gives us the reason of his descending or appearing in this material world. He says, Paritranaya sadhunam. I come to protect my devotees. Vinayasaya chaduskritam. And I come to destroy the demons. Dharma samstapanarthaya. I come to establish the proper process of religion. That's sambhavami. What's that last one? Sambhavami yuge yuge. Every millennium. Yuge yuge means millennium. Like that. Now, interestingly, Prabhupada says in one lecture in 1969 in New York, in the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is a secondary cause. The real cause of Lord Chaitanya appearing is to give us bhakti. Right? He comes to give us bhakti. That's why Krishna appears. Right. Protecting is an excuse, Prabhupada says. Why? Because by that act of protecting the devotee, those pastimes, those leelas, will be described by other devotees who have bhakti. And those devotees who have bhakti and describe such leelas can transmit that into the heart of the people who listens. So that's the process. Srimbanta Sakata Krishna. So just wanted to make a point that whenever we discuss the advent of Lord Krishna, of Lord Caitanya, in different forms, then we always refer to, as Prabhupada explained, to these 4 verses. Everything goes back to Bhagavad Gita. From the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam expands, and then Caitanya Caritamrita is manifested, and many other shastras, but mainly those are the ones that Srila Prabhupada has given us for our study and application. So that's one point. So who is Lord Caitanya? Who is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That's a question that sometimes Srila Prabhupada will ask in his initiation interviews. So who is Sri Chaitanya? You don't have to say many things, but Krishna himself. Very good. That's the best answer. One time Prabhupada was initiating. Sometimes, initiations are special. I understand initiation is happening in a few days also. So there was an arrangement for devotees to be initiated, and 2 devotees have been somewhat left out, or they were confirmed, and at the last minute they were told that it was approved for them to take initiation. So they were rushed into Prabhupada's cabin in New Vrindavan, and they enter, pay obeisances, and as soon as the devotee put his head up, Prabhupada said, "Who's Lord Caitanya?" That was his exam question. And he said that, Lord Krishna himself. And then someone said, the latest incarnation. He says, no, Krishna himself. He said like that. So that is the point, that Lord Caitanya is Krishna himself. But of course, there are some specific differences, we may say, that Lord Caitanya has with other incarnations. Just to conclude that little anecdote, pastime, when the devotee was paying obeisance because Prabhupada said a few words, and then they were very happy because Prabhupada was accepting them as his disciples. And then the devotees paying obeisance. I read this from Prabhupada Nectar or somewhere there. So when the devotee pay obeisance, and he lifted his head up to leave the room, and then he saw Prabhupada and saw that Prabhupada was seeing him. And then Prabhupada asked him, "Are you happy?" And of course they were very happy because they knew Prabhupada will initiate them. And the devotee hesitated in responding, and Prabhupada said, "I order you to be happy." So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, someone who came to make us happy. Right? Kevala Ananda Kanda. So who is Lord Chaitanya? It's Krishna himself. And of course, the Acharyas, Chaitanya Caritamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and also Chaitanya Bhagavat, explain the reasons why Lord Chaitanya came. And when Prabhu told me that I should speak on the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, then I had a big problem because I've been living in Mayapur for a number of years, and my spiritual master had engaged me in researching different things of Lord Chaitanya. So I had so much material, and I was reading and trying to make notes and summarizing some of the things. I had PowerPoints and so many things. So my head was like so much. But the story starts thousands and thousands of years ago. This is described in the Puranas. I have a selection of around 20 Puranas that predict the beginning of this pastime, this appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And like every or most stories start, once upon a time, Lord Krishna decided to come, because he could see that in this age people would be very degraded. I mean, for us now living in Mawulaba, sometimes we forget what it is to live in the middle of the cities where the degradation of the age is very clear, very evident. So here it's very almost heavenly. Birds chirping and rivers everywhere and hills and cows, right? So, but this age is very, very degrading. War is going on and pests and so many problems, accidents of all sorts, horrible things are happening right now. Sometimes I try to remember the numbers of abortions a day or animals that are killed per day in the millions, right? But then somehow, Prabhupada didn't like us to promote so much such things. He just said, present Krishna consciousness. And that will solve all the problems. But there are horrible things that are happening right now in the world. So, as I said, once upon a time, Lord Krishna, seeing this, he decided to come. And when Srimati Radharani got to know this, then she was a little concerned. What will happen with your Jamuna? What will happen with your flute? He started describing certain characteristics of his coming. The Shastras explain that the gopis, always wanted to be with Krishna, but because in the Vedic society, men sit separately from women, and there is some respect, right, in terms of mingling like that. It's not free mingling like it's common nowadays. Then the gopis had this botheration that why can we be with Krishna all the time, right? Sometimes I hear sannyasis, disciples, right, that they're bothered because the brahmacharis can be with the sannyasis in the room and things like that, but the ladies have to stay a bit distant like that. That's the rule. So in the same way, the gopis had this trouble that they couldn't be with Krishna all the time. So it is explained by the acharyas that in this advent of Lord Caitanya, many of these manjaris and gopis will be intimately associating with the Lord, right? Because they will have male forms, male bodies, like that. So there are many nuances of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna is expressing this desire, and Srimati Radharani is kind of complaining, how will this take place? And therefore the Shastras explain that once Radharani accepted the Lord's desire, then she took responsibility to design Mayapur. Mayapur is conceived by the agency of Srimati Radharani. And therefore Mayapur is considered the mercy, the land of mercy, right? In Vrindavan, I know that here many of the devotees are very attached to Vrindavan, and every so often they go and visit. And it's like a Vrindavan replica. The only difference is that Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan is in the center altar, in ISKCON Vrindavan, that is. So when I came here, I'm a fan of Krishna Balaram, so when I came here the first time, I was really mesmerized by the beauty of the deities. So this is a Vrindavan, mini Vrindavan, New Govardhana. So, but Sri Mayapur is the manifestation of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is saying, okay, you want to come? Okay, I'll take care. I'll make all the arrangements. So everything in Mayapur is like that. It has that mood of let me make things easier for you and for your desire to manifest. Who hasn't been in Mayapur here? No? Okay. You haven't been to Vrindavan? Yes? No. You haven't been to Mayapur? What is this?
No.
A little bit. You have been, but you don't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
You were little. Acha. So Mayapur, it's like that. So when you are in Mayapur, of course, some people are very devoted to Vrindavan and other places, Puri and like that. I heard also an explanation that this attachment to these different holy places also are the arrangement of the Lord. It's the Lord's mercy. And as I said, if you're from Mayapur and then you go to Vrindavan, I have had those encounters, and the devotees from Vrindavan are preaching to you the glories of Vrindavan and the deities and everything that happened in Vrindavan, and the devotees in Mayapur are, it's like a transcendental, I wouldn't say competition, but like an exchange. Radha Madhava is like this, and they're so big. Yeah, but Radha Syamasundar is like this, and this happened here, and Prabhupada is here. No, but Prabhupada said this. So it's like a transcendental thing. It's nectarian to see. And what to speak of the Puri fans, right? Jagannath is everything, and the feeling of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being separated from Krishna is manifested there. And Lord Chaitanya himself entered the deity of Tota Gopinath. So it's transcendental. That's the idea. It's not that one is better or one is like that. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, there are many other things happening at the same time. And as I said in the Puranas thousands of years ago, this appearance of Sri Chaitanya is predicted. For example, the flute of Krishna appears in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of the mirdanga. The mirdanga. So when the devotees are playing the mirdanga very sweetly, like Prabhu, Brahmachari, and others play very sweetly, that's like the flute of Krishna playing, like that. And there are so many other things are manifested in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Actually, I was hearing some explanations of Lord Chaitanya's father. Lord Chaitanya's father, Jagannath Mishra, who was mentioned in the previous verse, in text 74, right? He is originally from Bangladesh. Bangladesh, some of you who are aware of the history of Indian Bangladesh, Bangladesh was part of India at some point. Was called East Bengal. Now it's called Bangladesh, East Bengal. So you have West Bengal, you have East Bengal, right? West Bengal, where Calcutta, Mayapur is, and you have East Bengal. So the father of Jagannath Mishra, Upendra Mishra, he was from Sylhet. We happened to have the opportunity to go there to Sylhet and see their house, and it's incredible. It's really incredible. You enter, it's a little brick house where Lord Chaitanya, it is recorded, went once or twice to visit his grandparents. Grandchildren are very fond of the grandparents and vice versa. So, this big Lord Chaitanya, tall, so he came to see his grandmother, and his grandmother told him, here you cannot be Mahaprabhu. You sit and eat. That's very Bengali style. Prabhupada did say to have the mind of a British soldier and the heart of a Bengali mother. Because if you happen to go to Bengal, whether East Bengal or West Bengal, the main thing is boshun, which means sit down and eat. They will force you to eat. That's the law of their love. It's transmitted through feeding you. That's the idea. So Jagannath Mishra's father was from Sylhet, which is called South Dhaka also. And there's beautiful temples and halls, and very nice, very simple. It has a particular flavor. Many pastimes are there. Advaita Acharyas also is from Sylhet, etc. So many of these things are happening. And Jagannath Mishra, there's one line here. I forgot where it is. He says one line, I forgot exactly where he's located. He says, I'm seeing wonderful things. In one line, of the previous verses, he says, I'm seeing wonderful things. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya is coming. And that line is also the line of the Acharyas when they predict what's happening. And the Puranas do predict that. Lord Chaitanya will appear, and one of his devotees, Senapati Bhakta. Senapati means the leader of, or the general, or commander-in-chief, different translation, will gather devotees from all over the world and will bring them to Mayapur. That's in the Puranas. That's thousands and thousands of years ago. And of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the one on the right of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicted that people from Russia, from Prussia, from Germany, from France, from America. How did he know? He was in the 1800s, 1900s, and he could predict things that will happen 200 years after that. This prediction. He predicted. He says, the white men will come and will chant the names of Gaura Hari, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has many wonderful details, and one can be absorbed hours and hours in Mayapur when you go, because it was predicted also by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, that there will be a time when Westerners, how do you say Westerners, forgot? Videshis, the people outside of Desha, it's India, the Videshas, they will read Bengali and they will discuss Chaitanya Lila. That was his prediction. So we're doing that today. Most of us are Videshis here. So when you go to Mayapur, particularly in the festival right now, there's so many activities related to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Navadvip Parikram, where you go to the different places with thousands of devotees. I think this year there were 8 groups of, I don't know how many people, but I think there were total of 10 or 12,000 devotees for the festival. So it's huge. It's I cannot describe. I remember many years back, there was the day when the parikram ends, right? And I was busy. We were busy with my wife, different services, so we couldn't go to parikram. Maybe a little bit here and there. And that day, we were supposed to have breakfast at the Russian stall. That's a beauty also of Mayapur. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has international cuisine. So you can Chinese, you can do anything, Latin, whatever, Mexican, whatever. So we were supposed to have breakfast there. And I remember Mayapur actually is what you call earthquake zone. Sometimes there's tremors, and shakes. Yeah? So I remember I was in the office quite early, and then I felt this shake, and I thought, oh no, here we go. TOVP is being built there, the 3rd largest temple in the world. And sometimes when there are these tremors, you see them, the buildings, and they're shaking a little. And then I thought, oh, here we come. And what happened is that these 10, 12,000 devotees, I think it was 2015 or 16, they were arriving. They come from different directions, and they arrive, and they have this parikram mela, and everyone, it's very incredible, right? Because you can see all devotees from all over India, from Bangladesh, from different parts of the world. And then you got Europeans, Americans, Chinese, Africans, and everyone gets together in this massive piece of land, and everyone is hugging each other, right? That's the tradition. So you go and you just hug, and people give you garlands and pay obeisance, like one after another. It's such an incredible thing to see. Srila Prabhupada used to say this movement is the real United Nations of the spiritual world. So that's Mayapur. You feel that, you may know or may not know many things. I have seen so many people that come and they don't know nothing. Like now we just went to Mayapur for a few days, and some friends of my son had come for his wedding. They never knew anything about anything, Krishna consciousness, spirituality, nothing. They just came, and after a couple of days they were wearing dhotis and they were chanting in the Ganga, honoring prasadam, Haribol, Haribol. Like, how is it possible? And we have seen so many. One lady, wife of a devotee friend, she was crying. I saw her a couple of times. She was crying. He said, "This place is too wonderful. Everything is so ecstatic, So this is the true process of Krishna consciousness brought by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that you may understand or you may not understand, but it happens. You can feel it. You can experience that. So that's the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming, that he wanted to give freely. Just have some faith, just basic faith. And the simplest in those days, when Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote these predictions, the unit, it's like now it's rupees in India, but now in those days were the paisa. Now paisas are practically out of circulation. But the paisa, 1/4, I think, of a paisa, so it's insignificant. Like, what's the smallest here? We have a cent, but you don't have a cent coin. You have 5 cents, right? So imagine 1 cent divided into 4 parts or so. It's just a tiny, tiny bit of currency can get you the name. All what you have to do is just say Krishna. That's all. Hare Krishna. That's it. That's it. And I see that you have a very successful program going on Harinams every week or so, a few days a week, in the different areas, beachfronts. And I like to see the videos of those Harinams. And so many people, right? You attract so many people, and everyone is Hare Krishna, waving and chanting or dancing in some way. So that's the beginning. That's the beginning of their spiritual life. A spiritual life, Srila Prabhupada says, you will be surprised, he says in one class, begins with the tongue. And all what we need to do is just to chant Hare Krishna. That's it. That's the beginning. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes for that. He comes to give us the holy name imbued, like when you prepare something and the cook puts some kind of ingredient there or a mixture, and when you bite it feels so tasty, right? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given these names, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, with his blessing that whoever chants these names will obtain love of Godhead. That's the idea. So here we are, a few days before celebrating Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, and I understand that Mahatma Prabhu and Banu Maharaj and surely many other great souls will appear for this great occasion. So who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Krishna himself. How he appears in Mayapur? By the arrangements of none other than Srimati Radharani. And there, as I said, I have a 2 hours presentation on slides about the Puranas and their predictions, and also the different acharyas and great saints of the Vedic tradition who had predicted and said different things. There's one nice verse that it's, I think one of the Alvars said it, that he said that many of the devotees of Krishna will run away from him and take birth in different parts of the world. Somebody was asking me the other day, how come, devotees end up taking birth in so many continents, far away places from India? And I remember that there's that prediction that devotees of Krishna will take birth in different continents. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna says, that I will catch you. He says, you won't be able to run away from me. Doesn't matter how far you are. Like when a kid does something bad, right? Those who have children or remember when they were children, and you did something bad, and mom is coming or dad is coming, what do? You run and hide. You go as far as possible, right? Because that's going to get you, or mom's going to get you. So in the same way, sometimes people who have done service to Krishna, devotees of Krishna in some form, some level, will run away. That's the prediction. But I will catch you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I will catch you. You won't be able to run away from me. So that's why you may be in the middle of God-forsaken city, and one devotee comes there, right, and gives you a book. What's the line? This is for you. Huh? That's Vaisheshika Prabhu says, or so many Sankirtan devotees say. This book is for you, right? You have that experience, or prasadam, or something, or there you see the Sankirtan party going, and you think, oh, these crazy people. That's what I thought. All these crazy people, there you go, shaved head and bed sheets. What is this? I remember I was a 7-year-old kid in New York, and I saw them, and that's what I thought. Oh, what is these strange people? And here I am, one of them. So we don't know exactly, but the point is that Lord Chaitanya is out to get you. Not only you, but everybody else. So one thing that we need to understand is who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he comes. We have discussed very briefly some of his appearance details. But most importantly, what is his mission? Srila Prabhupada introduced in his teachings of Lord Chaitanya a book that he liked very much because it's a summary of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if you cannot read all that, sometimes we think, it's too much for me. Just read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That's a summary. There, he includes one section that says Lord Chaitanya's mission. And Lord Chaitanya's mission, what has in those pages is nothing else but the Shikshastaka. So if you want to know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, we have to read the Shikshastaka. What's the last line of the first verse? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. He came to give this process of chanting. What is the last, how the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam starts? Nama Sankirtana Jagsya. That this process of Sankirtan is what cleans all the sins, that cures all the sorrows that we may experience. So this is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. So his appearance is about to be celebrated. So what is our offering? What is our gift? What can I do to contribute to his mission? What can I do? It's not only Prabhupada was against that, what he calls salvationist mentality. Let me save myself. Let me do all these pujas, all these parikrams, all this chanting, all this reading, so I can be saved. Right? That Prabhupada was against that. He said, let me do all this so I can be pure, I can be clean, and I can be useful in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is to help others. Krishna also speaks several times in the Bhagavad Gita that a quality of a devotee that is most dear to him is that one who's always trying to help others. That is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to help us, not only us, but everyone else, the whole world. That is the prediction. There are many, many statements from the Shastra that explain that at some point in this age, everyone will be a devotee. Everyone will be a devotee, right? And when that doesn't happen anymore, then which is the last incarnation? Kalki. So Prabhupada says, don't wait for that one. Okay, don't wait for that one. Because that one come and there will be much Haribols or Prasadam or what do you call the simple wonderful, right? Simply wonderful, little balls. Not much of that. It will be just chop chop. So that's the end. Who is Chaitanya? How he comes? And why did he come? To give this treasure of love of Godhead to everyone. So let us be parts and parcels of that mission and serve our spiritual masters and the Vaishnavas and try to give this to everybody in whichever way we can. Some may be able to cook nicely or to talk or be friendly or funny or whatever way. There's some way by which we can contribute to this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu. These verses talk about Baladev. That's always short of time, but it says that Baladev appeared here. But then we say that Nityananda appears, so he appears twice. The Shastras explain that actually Baladev appeared in the form of Vishwarup, the brother of Vishwambar, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he merged into Lord Nityananda that appeared many miles away in Ekachakra. That's also another place of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, like that. So I'm sorry that I deviated. I generally don't like to do that from the verses that are given, but since it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance coming soon, and there was a request of talk about him, then I just took the liberty of deviating towards that. But the idea is that Lord Nityananda, as his brother, what's that verse? Brajendra Nandana se Sachi Sutta Holose. Brajendra Nandana hey hoy Sachi Sutta Holose. That has become the king of Braj. Lord Krishna has become Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram has become Nityananda. So they both come to manifest this Sankirtan movement. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So we stop here. There you go. No. Any questions? I mean, we can do a little stretch, unless you're too hungry.
Vishwarup mentioned those verses. Did he have a particular mission at all?
That's a very good question, and question that I had, and I heard it also. The answers that I remember about that question is that sometimes it is very evident, and sometimes it's not so evident, that some associates of Lord Chaitanya appeared, and they apparently didn't do much. They didn't do much of a, obvious, contribution, shall we say. But what I have heard about that is that he appears first to kind of purify the whole area, sometimes like an advance party. That's one thing. And the second thing is that the Shakti is there, right? The Shakti is there. And it is said that by some, I don't know, it was, who's that? The right Chaitanya Mangal? Lochanananda Thakur? No, the Chaitanya Mangal, not Chaitanya Bhagavat. That's Vrindavan Das Thakur. That they encountered, or they saw each other, Vishwarup and Lord Nityananda. I cannot, and the Shakti is there, and the same energy, the same spiritual potency of Baladev, of Vishwarup. In this case, it's with Lord Nityananda, who appear very far from that place, and not from the same father and mother, apparently.
So, sorry,
please.
The second part of the question is, so I've heard numerous times that mysterious sannyasi that came and took Nityananda to different missionaries was Vishwarup.
Yeah, but
later on,
but I heard that is not accurate. I don't know if it's Prabhupada himself or some other days is not accurate, because that's not him. That's not him. But anyway, I mean that's a super pastime, because we were there at that place, and after that, Lord Nityananda's father died out of, just like Dasharat, because he gave his son to the sannyasi, and after that he just died out of pain, of separation. So there are many. It's like a chutney. It's very sweet and sometimes very hot. So there are things that will make us cry. When something is very hot, you get these pieces of sharks, as they are called in ISKCON, chilies, and then make you cry. But then you try something which is wonderful, and wow, you cried of ecstasy. Okay, so we stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Nigai Gaur Premanandi.